Jacare versus Hermansson goes down this weekend on Saturday. It's a weird card. It's like almost like a card of prospects versus a card of veterans and sort of big names on the prelims. We're going to look at the main card. Might touch a little bit on the prelims, on the ones that jump out at us. But we'll start at the top. Jacare Souza versus Jack Hermansson. Hermansson fought just about a month ago, from I guess up until the fight. So what are your thoughts on Jack Hermansson coming in here on about a month's notice against a big name like Jacare Souza?
It's a very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
I'm generally not a big fan of quick turnarounds. I think fighters should be allowed to have a rest, have a break. I think the UFC probably put too much pressure on fighters that they won't get the opportunities if they don't take them. But I think, I'm generally not a fan of quick turnarounds. But Hermansson took very little damage in that win against David Branch. It was a guillotine choke, very quick win. So, I mean, it's just kind of rolling into one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's my thoughts exactly. Like, I don't really like it if a guy is in a tough fight. You know, for example, Michael Bisping when he took that fight against Kelvin Gastelum.
Yeah,
but
that's
you know,
the one.
that's a completely different can of worms. This one here, it lasted just a few seconds, ended in the first round. So, you know, it's almost like it's just two camps. So once his body can take two camps, I think it's fine. But it's definitely a big step up in competition for him, because if you look down his resume, he's fought David Branch, which was a step up, I thought, anyway. And I did pick Dave Branch in that fight. I thought he'd done a good job there. But then Meerschaert, Thales Leites, kind of at the end of his run, he lost to Thiago Santos, Brad Scott, Alex Nicholson. So he hasn't really ran into anybody quite of the quality of Jacare Souza. Do you think that's going to be a big problem for him?
I think it's the biggest problem, that he will face. I think, but he's very much an improving fighter. I keep using that phrase, an improving fighter, but it does leave something unknown when someone is an improving fighter and when they are stepping up in class, fight on fight. I think it will pose problems to him. I think we'll learn a lot about Jack Hermansson in this fight.
I agree, and that is correct. I think with really improving fighters like this, you don't really know where to put them, and it's only when they step in there against the really, really good guys that you can judge. And I do like the way he fights, but I'm not sure how successful it will be against someone like Jacare, because he does like to go to that guillotine. He does like to mix in his grappling, and I don't think his striking is quite at the level that he can only strike with Jacare and be successful. I think if his game is going to work against most guys, he mixes it up. You could see against Dave Branch, he done well on the feet. He has that kind of in and out style. And I remember I rewatched that fight yesterday, and it was funny because Daniel Cormier was like, he has this jittery style, and Dominic Cruz was like, what's a jittery style? And he's like, well, an in and out style. And he goes, all right, so in and out style. It was like Dominic Cruz, he has such a dry sense of humor. It's funny.
Yeah.
But he has this kind of in and out style where he's long, but he doesn't really fight long. He kind of jumps into the pocket, lands some shots, and he kind of uses that to get takedowns. But I don't know how successful that's going to be against someone like Jacare, who is just an incredible grappler and who I think can get takedowns against Jack Hermansson. So for me, I think Jacare wins this fight because his striking is probably competitive. I would say it would be competitive against Jack Hermansson, and if it hits the floor, I just think it's another level, and I think Souza wins. I'm not sure what the odds are. I think you might have them, but I'm going to go with Jacare Souza by like a second round submission.
Yeah, I think the step up between Branch and Jacare is a little bit too much for me. I'm going to go Jacare as well. Yeah, Jacare is 1-2 and Hermansson 6-4. So yeah,
makes sense.
Probably fair odds.
Yeah, makes sense. Be a big win for him. Greg Hardy has another co-main event slot on an ESPN card. Not too surprising, but we won't dwell on that too much. Against Dmitrii Smoliakov. Smoliakov, I watched a few of his fights, but you can't really find a lot, which is a problem.
There's a lot.
Because he's been on a lot of the regional scene, so it's kind of difficult to find. But I did watch him, and to be honest, as much as probably people don't want to pick Greg Hardy to win, I'm going to pick Greg Hardy to win here, because I thought Hardy looked okay. I thought he looked good against Alan Crowder before the illegal knee. And he's clearly a really good athlete. And I think at heavyweight, we spoke about this before, at heavyweight, I think if you're an excellent athlete, which he is, I think you're going to go pretty far with that. And Smoliakov, I didn't really see a whole lot from him that I think will trouble Greg Hardy. The only thing is that he is a good wrestler, and if he can get takedowns, we see in Greg Hardy's ground game isn't the best. He can stand back up to his feet, but it's, you know, he's just not the best down there. So if he can get takedowns, maybe, but I just think Greg Hardy, just being a better athlete and a bigger puncher, probably wins this fight.
Yeah, Greg Hardy, another co-main slot, whatever you think of him, he's, the UFC are pushing him. He has that NFL background, you know, he's marketable. He's a big favourite as well. He's 3-10. The other guy, Smoliakov, is 11-5. I think he's well matched to Hardy.
Yeah. As much as I don't like to say it, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of Dmitrii's chances, but it seems like he's been brought in to fight Greg Hardy because they want to give Greg Hardy a win. Just seems like that. Mike Perry versus Alex Oliveira is next. Mike Perry, one interesting guy. I love the way he fights. But sometimes it gets him into trouble. Alex Oliveira, he's the type of guy who I feel like he can show up sometimes and look excellent, and then other times he can just get involved in a brawl or not fight to his potential. But when you see this fight, what was your initial thoughts on it?
Interesting matchmaking, I think, as well. Yeah. You're not really sure what you're going to get from Oliveira. I do like Mike Perry. He's grown on me a bit as well. He's a bit mental. I'm struggling to make a pick for this fight. I don't know. I think it depends what Oliveira shows up as well. So it's a bit like Cerrone, isn't it? In that sense, you don't know what you're going to get. Yeah,
I think Mike Perry has shown that his grappling is okay, and he has good takedown defense, but he can get caught when he's on the floor. And I think Oliveira, while his wrestling isn't amazing, he has shown he does have some wrestling, and he can bring it there. I think as well, though, as I said kind of on the beginning of this, he does get involved in brawls, and that's kind of where Mike Perry lives, and that's what he likes. And I think Mike Perry's still improving. Even though he has that Donald Cerrone loss, I thought he looked good in that up until he took him down. I'm not sure why he went for that. But like the Paul Felder fight was good. Obviously, Paul Felder, you know, slightly undersized at that weight. But I don't know. I kind of like the way Mike Perry fights, and I think Alex Oliveira does allow the fight to get into a brawl. And if he does allow the fight to get into a brawl, I'll favour Mike Perry because he's more durable. So I'm going to say Mike Perry. Not confident about it. I'll be interested to see what the odds are on like this. But what's your pick?
Oliveira is a small favourite. He's 1-2, and Mike Perry's 6-4. I think a lot depends on how much Perry has learned from fight management, the fight IQ of the cowboy loss. Like shooting for the takedown was silly. Going to the ground was silly. So if he learns a lot from that, and his fight IQ is improved, I can see him getting the win. So yeah, I wouldn't be against Perry at 6-4.
Yeah, I like it. I actually like that bet. We'll go with it. Although I'm not that confident on it. Glover Teixeira fights Ion Cuțelaba in a fight that I believe was supposed to happen a few events ago, and Cuțelaba got injured. Let me check my facts. I am right. Cancelled bout for UFC on ESPN +1. That was the Cejudo versus Dillashaw card. So now they're going to get matched up. Cuțelaba has had a kind of an on-off run in the UFC. He's kind of trading wins and losses, but he has a 2-fight win streak now. But it's definitely the biggest test of his career for sure. And Glover Teixeira, even though I feel like he's declining as a fighter just because of, you know, usual reasons, meaning age, I still think he's competitive. And we've seen against Carl Robertson, I thought his performance there was really, really good against a guy who's up and coming. So I like Glover Teixeira here. I think his wrestling is good. I think his striking is really good if he can get going. He's generally just a puncher. Doesn't really use his kicks, but I like it. But yeah, I kind of fancy Glover Teixeira here.
Yeah, I agree. This is the biggest step of Cuțelaba's career, I believe. So the odds are quite interesting here, actually. Cuțelaba is a big favourite. He's 4-7. Glover, he's 4-7. Glover's 5-4. So I'd be agreeing with you on that one. I think Glover's a good pick at 5-4.
Wow, I'm actually surprised by that one. Go with all over Glover on that one. Well, he'll probably lose now, but all over. This is probably my favourite fight on the card. It's John Lineker against Cory Sandhagen. John Lineker, of course, is one of the most entertaining fighters that you'll see in this division. Big puncher, and has had some incredible fights over the years. And Cory Sandhagen, for me, is definitely one to watch. again, it's another one of these fights that we've spoke about it all up the card. It's a step up in competition for one guy in Cory Sandhagen. So what are your thoughts on this fight initially when you see it? And what are the odds? Actually, give us the odds right now. I don't want to know the odds.
I'll give you the odds first.
Yeah.
So Lineker's a 4-7 favourite, same as the Glover, and then Sandhagen's 5-4. But yeah, first thoughts when I seen this fight, I'll be honest, I hadn't actually looked at this card before we recorded this. First thoughts when I seen that, fuck, that's a good fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
I like that one. Yeah, I agree. Step up again. The matchmaking on this card is really interesting.
Yeah,
they're just stepping up a lot of guys against veterans and good guys as well. But yeah, a good fight. I like it.
Yeah, I love this fight, and you know what? I'm gonna go on Cory Sandhagen. I'm gonna take him. A little peek behind the curtain. When I wrote a little bit for MMA on Point, there was a video that we'd done for biggest prospects to watch in 2019. I was pushing to get Cory Sandhagen on it. Didn't get on it because it was a kind of a, we had loads of people there, but I was pushing for that one. And I really like the way he fights. He fights really technical. His grappling is really, really good. That armbar he got on Mario Batista was beautiful. Yeah. And he just fights well everywhere. I'm not sure how he's going to deal with that John Lineker coming forward, landing shots on you type style. I just don't know. We haven't really seen it too much. But I have a feeling he's going to be able to deal with it, and he's going to be able to fight at range, and he's going to catch him. Don't know if he's going to finish him, but I think he's going to be able to work him a little bit. And, John Lineker, he likes to take the front foot, and I think Cory Sandhagen is actually pretty decent fighting off his back foot. So I'm going to go with Cory Sandhagen. It's a bit of a, an unknown pick because I still I understand why Lineker is the favourite here, but I'm going to go with Sandhagen. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, I thought you might go with Sandhagen. I know you're a big fan. I'm going to go against you on this one. I'm going to take Lineker just because I think the prices are quite fair on this one. I think Sandhagen probably should be a little bit bigger, just given the step up. So yeah, I'm going to take Lineker.
The opener on the main card is another big prospect, or you could probably argue two prospects, maybe one's not quite as big. Roosevelt Roberts against Thomas Gifford. I watched a bit of Roosevelt Roberts before the show, and I was very, very impressed with him. He's a long guy for the division. He fights at 155, both guys do. Interesting thing though, he does well against the smaller guys because that's generally who he fights against. But Thomas Gifford is actually bigger in this one, so it kind of makes it an interesting one. But I do like the way Roberts fights. He kind of, again, like Sandhagen, he fights well everywhere. He has kind of a measured striking style, and when he gets it to the floor, he mixes in strikes and his submissions very, very well. I'm going to go with Roberts. I think he's just the polished fighter right now, even though he has less experience than Gifford. But I'm going to go with him. What are the odds on that?
Can't get odds on this one because bookies don't put enough attention to MMA.
Jeez.
But anyway, the main card fight and it's not on it. They have all the big names on the undercard, but
Do you have a quick pick on that one?
I don't know a lot about either fighter, so I'd only be bluffing. Some might say I'm only bluffing anyway.
We'll say Roberts. Is there anything on the undercard that jumps out to you? Because when I looked at this, I initially took a look at the main card and I went, shit, that prelim card has a lot of big names on it.
Yeah, a couple of names stood out to me. Jim Miller, Jason Gonzalez on the card, and then Andrei Arlovsky and Augusto Sakai on the card as well. They both stood out to me.
That's fun. Them two are fun. Ben Saunders against Sato. Gilbert Burns, who for a while was a prospect, could still say he's good, is on the card as well. So, yeah, pretty good card on the weekend. I'm actually looking forward to it. Hopefully it's early. That'd be nice.
ESPN have been looking after us here in Europe with some of these early cards.
They have. So
big up ESPN.
Yeah, keep it up.
So apparently, if you press this button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show. So hit that button there. You have to
click the bell though to get the notifications down the bottom.
Make sure you hit that, and they get the ringer things because Rob didn't know. So it's the button there or there.
It's somewhere roughly around that area.